Welcome back to High Magic Practices. We're glad you're here with us for this new episode, where we dive deep into one of the most structured and powerful systems of Renaissance ceremonial magic. If we truly want to follow along and work through this material in a serious way, we recommend getting the complete Heptameron book. It's available completely free for our Patreon members at level 4, and it can also be found on Amazon in your local region. Today, we're walking together through the ritual architecture of the Heptameron, not as scattered prayers or isolated conjurations, but as a complete ceremonial system. When we approach this text, we quickly realize it's built like a sacred structure. Every part supports the rest. Nothing stands alone. If we remove one element, the integrity of the whole operation begins to weaken. It's tempting, especially in modern practice, to take shortcuts. We might feel inclined to borrow a circle from one grimoire, a conjuration from another, and assume our intention will make up the difference. But the Heptameron doesn't work that way. Its strength doesn't come from a single powerful name or dramatic invocation. It comes from sequence, from preparation, timing, consecration, and the steady establishment of divine authority through an unbroken chain of sacred acts. What we're presenting is the full traditional structure drawn from the earliest Latin sources of the 16th century. This is not a simplified adaptation. This is the working method as Renaissance magicians practiced it within a Christian ceremonial framework. Every prayer has a function. Every gesture builds upon what came before. The operation unfolds in 3 major phases. First, we enter the preparatory period. This includes 9 days of purification and the creation and consecration of ritual tools. This phase happens before the actual day of the working. It sets the spiritual and psychological foundation. Without it, the rest stands on unstable ground. Second comes the day of the operation itself. We vest ourselves, we construct and consecrate the circle, we perform the aspersions and fumigations, and only then do we proceed to the conjuration proper, the moment of calling, communication, and command. Third, and just as important, is the closing phase, dismissal, thanksgiving, proper release. This is often neglected, especially by those eager to move on. But in the Heptameron, the closing is not optional. It seals the work and restores balance. Across these 3 phases we encounter 52 distinct steps. Some are brief, a prayer, a blessing, a sprinkling of holy water. Others are extended and demanding, full conjurations, the handling of resistant spirits, repeated fumigations. Together they form a complete chain. The tradition is clear. Skipping essential consecrations or failing to properly dismiss what has been called can lead to confusion at best, and genuine spiritual disorder at worst. One challenge for us today is that the original system assumes access to Catholic liturgical life, confession, communion, blessed implements, masses said over tools. Renaissance magicians lived within that framework. Many of us do not. So when adaptation is necessary, we must approach it thoughtfully, preserving the structure and intention of each step, rather than casually replacing elements. The goal is not convenience, but continuity. This is not light material. It is a working manual. It demands study, repetition, and discipline. Over time, the flow becomes natural. The words settle into memory. The sequence becomes embodied rather than mechanical. The Heptameron has endured for more than 4 centuries because it forms one of the most coherent systems of angelic theurgy preserved from the Renaissance. It survives not because it is easy, but because it is effective when performed correctly. As we move through this journey, step by step, we do so with seriousness, preparation, and reverence. Precision matters. Purity matters. Structure matters. Let's begin walking that path together. Now we move into the structure of the work itself, and we begin with phase 1, the preparation that happens before the actual day of operation. We start with 9 full days of purification. During this time, we fast according to our capacity. We maintain chastity. We dedicate ourselves to daily prayer. Traditionally, this also includes confession and communion. The purpose here is alignment. We are not just preparing tools, we are preparing ourselves. Next, we prepare the pentacle. It is made from kidskin parchment, and it is created during the proper day and hour of Mercury, with the moon waxing. Timing matters. We are synchronizing our action with celestial order. Once prepared, we consecrate the pentacle. Traditionally, a mass of the Holy Spirit is said over it, and it is sprinkled with holy water. The object is no longer just parchment. It becomes a vessel of authority. Then we prepare the sword. On one side we inscribe Agla with a cross. On the other side we inscribe ON between crosses. These are not decorations, they are seals of divine power. The sword is then consecrated, traditionally through a mass of the Holy Ghost. Again, the pattern repeats. Preparation, then consecration. Nothing is used without being sanctified. We then prepare the Book of Conjurations. It is written on virgin parchment, during the waxing moon, in the hour of Mercury. This book becomes the script of our authority. Some traditions, especially those influenced by the Key of Solomon, include a consecration of the book as well. While optional in some manuscripts, it reinforces the chain of sanctification. We prepare our vestments. Traditionally, priestly garments are used. In other cases, clean white linen robes suffice. What matters is ritual purity and separation from ordinary life. Finally, we gather raw materials: holy water, hyssop, an earthen vessel, charcoal, the appropriate planetary incense. Nothing is left to improvisation on the day itself. Now we enter Phase 2, the day of operation, before we even leave for the working site. We calculate the correct planetary hour. The operation must align with the governing intelligence of the day and hour. Precision here reflects obedience to cosmic order. We then don't the vestments while reciting the vesting prayer, beginning with the sacred names, Ankor, Amakor, Amides, Theodonias, Anitor. As we clothe ourselves outwardly, we are also clothing ourselves inwardly in authority. If we are working with assistants, we distribute the implements carefully. One carries the earthen vessel with fire and perfumes. One carries the book of conjurations. One carries the vestment and the pentacle. The master carries the sword. Each role is defined. Each responsibility is clear. Phase 3 is the procession to the place of operation. From the moment we depart, we chant the litanies continuously. The master intones Kyrie eleison, and the response follows Kyrie eleison. Then Christe eleison, and again the response. This rhythm continues through the angelic invocations. The procession itself becomes prayer in motion. We do not walk casually to the site. We advance in sacred speech. Then we arrive at Phase 4, the construction of the circle. We draw 4 concentric circles. The innermost circle measures 9 feet in diameter, about 2.74 meters, and each circle is separated by the breadth of a palm. The spacing is deliberate. The geometry establishes sacred containment. Within the 3 bands formed between the circles, we inscribe the divine names. These names form the wall of authority around us. At the center, we draw a cross marked with Alpha and Omega, carefully aligned with the cardinal directions. Orientation is not symbolic only. It anchors the work within the structure of the world. Outside the outermost circle, at the 4 cardinal points, we draw 4 pentagrams. These serve as additional guardians and seals. Finally, we leave an opening to the north. This is our point of entry. We do not step over the boundary carelessly. We enter with awareness, intention, and reverence. With the circle established, the foundation of the operation stands complete. Now we continue into Phase 5, the consecration of the circle itself. We enter the circle with all of our tools, and once inside we close the northern entrance behind us. The boundary is sealed. From this point forward, We are operating within sacred space. We perform the aspersion with holy water, sprinkling the entire circumference clockwise while reciting Aspicus me, Domine, Hesapo et Mondabor, Labis me, et super ne vim de arbabor. As we move, we are purifying not only the ground, but a subtle atmosphere within the boundary. Then, with knees bent in reverence, we face each cardinal direction and invoke the angelic powers. O angeli supradicti, estote adud tors miae petitioni. We are not commanding yet. We are asking for assistance, aligning ourselves with higher intelligences before proceeding further. Phase 6 begins with the consecration of fire and incense. We bless the perfumes, reciting Deus Abraham, Deus Isaac, Deus Jacob, benedicuc creator specherum. The incense is then sprinkled with holy water, further sanctifying it. Next comes the exorcism of the fire, exorcizo te creatura ignis, per illum per quem facta. Sunt omnia. We purify the elemental force itself. Then we bless the fire. Benedic Domine creaturum, istam ignis et sanctifica. Only after this do we light the incense upon the consecrated flame. An assistant fumigates the master, reciting Accipe Domine sanctitatem odoris, incetsi et dimite virtutum tuum super nos caelitus. The smoke becomes a vehicle of sanctification. We then fumigate the entire circle, walking clockwise around the circumference. After that, each participant is fumigated in turn. No one stands within the circle without being ritually cleansed. Now we enter Phase 7, the Conjuration ceremony itself. Kneeling at the 4 directions, east, south, west, and north, we recite the Hamara Moralae prayer. Hamara Moralae, the Neha, Latis 10. This establishes the directional authority of the work. We then stand in the center, holding the pentacle over the air. The pentacle is not passive. It is displayed as a sign of command. We declare, per pentaculum, Salomonis advocavi, dent mihi responsum verum. By the pentacle of Solomon, we call and demand a true answer. Next come the directional invocations. On Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, we name the angels of the air from the 4 quarters. On Thursday and Saturday, instead of aerial spirits above the 5th heaven, we direct our prayers to God in 4 directional orations. The structure shifts depending on the day, but the order remains precise. We proceed with the preliminary adjuration, O awesomeness, adiro atque contestor, persedem Adonai. This establishes the formal authority of the call. Then we read the specific conjuration for the planetary day. For example, on Sunday we work under Michael. Each day carries its own governing intelligence and formula. We follow the text exactly. If the spirits are stubborn, we move into Phase 8. We may recite the exorcism of the aerial spirits, nos facti adimagenem Dei, dotati potentia Dei. We remind them of the divine authority under which we operate. If necessary, we display the pentacle clearly and declare Ecce Pentacorum Salomonis, quod ante vestrum adoxi praesentium. The symbol itself becomes a visible warning. We may repeat the directional prayer against obstinate spirits, again invoking Hamara Moralae, Daneha, Latis 10. Facing each direction reinforces the command. If terrifying forms appear, we extend the sword and declare Fuciat hinci nicotas vestra, vir tute vexillide. The gesture and the word act together. Finally, we may show the conclusion. Warning of binding. Ecce conclusionem vestrum, nolite fieri inobedientis. This is the last escalation for resolution. If the spirits manifest peacefully, we move into Phase 9. We greet them respectfully. Bene veneretis spiritus, vel regis nobilissimi. Authority does not exclude courtesy. We then clearly state our request. We command what we will. Precisely and without ambiguity, this is the moment of purpose. We receive the answers and carry out the work for which the operation was undertaken. Then comes Phase 10, the closing of the operation. We give the license to depart, in nomine Patris, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Ite in pace, ad loca vestula. The dismissal is formal and explicit. We offer thanksgiving, gratias tibi ago, Domine Deus omnipotens. Gratitude seals the work. We allow a grounding period. We sit quietly. If needed, we eat bread and salt. We return gradually to ordinary awareness. We thanked the angelic guardians of the circle. We extinguish the fire and incense properly, without haste. We ceremonially close the space, erasing the circle from the outermost boundary inward. We dismantle the structure in reverse order. Finally, we store all implements carefully, wrapping them in silk or clean cloth. Nothing is discarded casually. As we can see, the operation does not begin when we draw the first circle. It begins 9 days earlier, when we commit to purification, and it does not end when the spirits depart. It ends only after we have given thanks, closed the circle, and stored every tool with care. Between those 2 points lies a sacred journey. It demands our full attention, our sincere devotion, and our complete respect for the tradition we are entering, if we truly want to walk this path correctly. The best way to follow this entire ritual process is by working directly from our complete book on the Heptameron. This is not just a commentary. It is a full working guide designed to carry us from first principles all the way through the final dismissal and grounding. We begin by exploring what the Heptameron actually is, its textual lineage, its Renaissance sources, and its purpose as a system of angelic theurgy. We study the cosmological framework of the 7 heavens, the hierarchy of celestial beings and aerial spirits, the role of the winds, the sigils, and the zodiacal forces. Before we ever draw a circle, we understand the universe we are stepping into. From there, the book lays out the entire ritual architecture in clear phases: preparation, procession, circle construction, consecration, conjuration, handling resistance, peaceful manifestation, and proper closure. Each phase is mapped exactly as preserved in the early manuscripts. We go deeply into the 9 days of preparation. We examine every ritual tool in detail: the pentacle, the sword, the vestments, the book of conjurations, holy water, hyssop, incense, the earthen vessel, charcoal, and the calculation of planetary hours. Nothing is assumed. Everything is explained step by step. We dedicate full chapters to the magic circle itself, its structure, its inscriptions, the divine names, the pentagrams, orientation, entry, and why the circle is essential as a fortress of authority. We break down the construction process so we can reproduce it faithfully and confidently. We include practical counsel for the magician, reference tables, alternative names from manuscript traditions, classical Latin pronunciation guides, planetary hour calculations, textual notes, and source references. This ensures that we are not only practicing, but understanding what we are doing. If we are serious about succeeding with the Heptameron, we need structure. We need clarity. We need a complete system that preserves the integrity of the tradition. Our book gives us that structure. It allows us to move step by step, without improvisation, without guesswork, and without breaking the chain of consecration that makes this work effective. If we are ready to commit to the full journey, this guide is the companion that will carry us from preparation to completion with confidence and precision. In our next episode, we're stepping into one of the most influential grimoires in the entire Western esoteric tradition, the Key of Solomon. This text has shaped ceremonial magic from the Renaissance all the way to modern practitioners. Its structure, its pentacles, Its methods of consecration and command have echoed through centuries of magical literature. If we want to understand where so many later systems draw their authority and symbolism, we need to study this source carefully and respectfully. We're going to explore its foundations, its influence, and how it connects directly to the work we've been discussing. The Key of Solomon is not just another grimoire, it is a cornerstone. If you value this kind of deep, structured exploration into traditional ceremonial magic, support the work by liking this video and subscribing to our YouTube channel. That simple action helps us continue building serious, well-researched material for practitioners who want more than surface-level explanations. And to our Patreon supporters, thank you. Your support makes this production possible. It allows us to dedicate the time, research, and care necessary to present these teachings properly and with integrity. We move forward together, step by step, preserving what is essential, studying what is profound, and practicing with discipline and reverence. Until the next working, may our path remain aligned, our intention steady, and our practice worthy of the tradition we serve.